There's something called the science of job crafting, which is the idea that people can craft their own jobs and infuse certain elements in your jobs that give you joy, that give you purpose.
Yes.
That no matter what you do, there's some few things you can add. I think there was this lady who used to clean hospital wards and of people in a coma. So these people can hear you. There's nothing exciting about that job. But she decided she was going to put art around the room because she believed that if she moves art around, it will help people heal better. And for her, that injected a lot of purpose and meaning. I have to go to work because if I don't move that art around, people are not going to recover quickly. So those small little things you infuse in your own job can really help. Hello everybody, my name is Siphiwe Moyo. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Organizational Behavior with Siphiwe Moyo. We're coming to you live from Oxano Studios in Mundane. I have no idea what Oxano means, but it has some Greek to it. There's Greek to it. And you know there's a pastor involved when there's Greek.
Take us to church.
So today we're diving into a topic that's sure to put a smile on your face, the science of infusing fun and purpose into your work. This is exciting, so make sure you have enough data. Also send someone data because that's more romantic than chocolates in Africa.
You're so right.
We want practical romance here. Give me, what's the point of romance when you don't have electricity? All right, let me get serious, guys. In today's fast-paced and often demanding work environments, it's easy to forget that work can be enjoyable. But we're here to change that perception, I hope. You know, guys, a study published in the Journal of Vocational Behavior by Hughes, Michel, and Stafford 2013 explored this relationship between fun in the workplace and various organizational behavior outcomes. Like, it found that fun activities at work were positively associated with employee engagement, job satisfaction, and lower turnover intentions. In other words, when you're having fun at work, you are less likely to have intentions to leave. That's a duh. If my daughter was here, it's like, duh.
I love it, duh. It's true though.
But is that study as isolated? Are there any benefits to employee and employers infusing fun in the workplace? That's what we are going to chat about today. So join us today. We have amazing guests who are experts in this field. This podcast for me is an excuse to hang out with my favorite people. So, our first guest is Taryn-Lee Kearney, the dynamic force behind AHA training. By the way, is that AHA as in...
Yes.
Is that...
AHA. She got it. You got it.
AHA training and development. She's a TEDx speaker, an adept facilitator on soft skills. She has inspired audiences in over 12 countries and impacted over 100 global companies. With a foundation as an industrial psychologist, her approach is knowledgeable and transformative. Energetic, I've seen the energetic, and passionate about people development. TL combines her expertise with genuine enthusiasm for human connection and well-being. So, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for TL Kearney.
Boom chagalaga.
I'm trying to fix my headphones. I think there's something. Yeah, there we go. Our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Thandi Jacobs, who is the group head of learning and development at Evolutions. Her focus and passion are to better the futures of the individuals she work with through her involvement in their growth and development journeys from the beginning of their careers to executive development and journey in between. You know that awkward thing that people do when you introduce themselves? They don't know what to do. Introduce them.
It's just like when people sing happy birthday to you. Yeah, you're like, you just stand there. You're like, what do I do now?
I love it. So I'm going to keep reading. Thandi has traveled to Southeast Asia and to the US as part of a learning and development journey to bring insights from those countries and industries into the work she does. She has competencies in a few things like learning and talent development, talent management, leadership development, youth development, OT and change, strategy, coaching, mentoring, and project management. So today, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're a leader looking to inspire your team or individual wanting to make your workday more enjoyable, stay tuned because we are about to uncover the science of behind it all. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Taryn. I don't understand how you always seem to be having fun. So I've worked with you before, and you seem to be always having fun at work. What's your background? Why are you always having fun at work?
Well, interesting enough, I got a full scholarship for 4 years to become a professional chef.
Wow.
And I won some competition, and they just like handed it over to you. And I was in this triangle of like, oh, what do I do? You know, do I take it? Don't I? And it reminded me about the time when no one could pick me up from school. My mother is a social worker, and then she advanced herself in a career, and she was heading up the learning development for CSIR. And she quickly rushed to come fetch me. And she's like, we're not going home now. You're coming with me to work. I'm giving training. Like, there's no time. And she rushes me back, and she's like, okay, you got to keep quiet. Don't say anything. Don't just be around the back of the room. You're like a fly on the wall. I'm like, okay, I got this, right? I got this. A fly on the wall. Anyways, and she's giving us training. I was around about 16, yeah. Okay. So she was giving training, and I was in awe. I was like, my mother is, first of all, my role model. I absolutely love her to bits. And you too, Dad. And just putting it out there. Squeezing in. And I just saw how she was just transforming people's lives. And she was having fun while doing it. She was incorporating so many aspects from a whole brain approach. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to cook. I want to be there, and I want to change people's lives through learning and development, because so many other avenues can open up in their minds. And that is when I started seeing in their eyes those aha moments. And that is how the company name came from.
I just had an aha moment of where that started. Welcome. That sounds absolutely amazing. Thandi, can you also share a bit about your background? By the way, do you remember the first time we met?
We met at Nedbank.
Oh.
And probably this was, I stand to be corrected, probably the later part of 2010.
That's not a long time ago.
Definitely early parts of 2011. Okay. So it's been a long time coming. And we were in a big room at Olwazini.
Yeah.
And it was a leadership or a learning and development community of practice or something like that. So the intention of it was to bring across this massive organization practitioners and specialists and leaders in a particular function together, because each of these different businesses operates very differently as a subculture, and the expertise exists in different pockets, and the intention was to connect all of these people. And so I remember it was more of a comment you were making at the time, and honestly I can't remember the details. And I was like, there are certain people in life you want to know.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's amazing.
And that's one of them.
Through and through, I agree 100% with you on that one.
Now it sounds like I invited you because I was fishing for compliments.
And no, that was not a sponsored comment.
We were not paid to say
We were not paid.
Can
you share with our listeners maybe your background and what inspired you to do what you do?
I think from being a really young kid, I've always wanted to be a teacher.
Oh, wow.
It's probably because I had such great teachers as a kid from literally day zero. My teacher at preschool was my great granny.
Oh.
My teacher in primary school was my great aunt.
Oh.
I'd always been so fortunate to have such amazing teachers and individuals who were so connected to what they were doing. And it didn't feel like I'm just here for a job from 8 until 2 p.m. and then I'm going to go home. And so I really loved the opportunity to be part of something like that. But I also, I think really early on realized the value that teachers bring, because you're inspiring dreams, you're unlocking potential. And so I wanted to be part of that. And also growing up in Soweto, and at the time when hope was, it wasn't really there. And so I knew that my journey would always take me into places and spaces that help to unlock some of that potential and create something that is different to what I was experiencing and seeing as a child. And so many years later, I find myself in a space in HR and in learning and development, fortunately, and I honestly have not regretted. I've not wanted ever to be a lawyer, doctor, or any one of those things. I've always been wanting to be part of helping people grow, because understanding that often there's this one person whose life you're going to touch and help them grow, and they in turn are able to unlock opportunities even within their own family for a minimum of 7 other people.
Yes.
I love
And
that.
so creating that ripple effect honestly is what connects me to my purpose and why I do what I do.
And you're definitely living out your purpose.
I better be.
Yeah.
All these years later, I better be.
You are, trust me.
Isn't that like better than money, guys? Isn't it
Totally.
like this idea that you are changing lives, you're doing meaningful stuff? To me, that sounds amazing.
There's very little. I always say, I could win the proverbial lottery, but I'll very likely still do what I do, even if it was in a different fashion.
That's interesting for me because, I think a week or 2 ago, I was emceeing a conference, and this conference, the people were like stuck up. They were like dead, throughout the conference. And it's interesting because I also got to MC the gala dinner, and suddenly, after people had had a few drinks, they really lit up and they had fun. And I had conversations with some of them, and I asked them, guys, the people that I saw during the day and the people I saw now, what's going on? And they seem to have created this impression that you must have this professional demeanor at work, as if the idea of fun and work just doesn't work, Can we really have fun at work? Are we even allowed?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Definitely. And that is definitely one of the reasons why I do what I do. As a facilitator, I'm always in different company cultures and always find myself observing different things. And there's this conception that professionalism needs to be stiff, reserved, and, keep yourself in, Whereas it's the extreme opposite. Then you're not bringing your authenticity. You're not bringing your lightheartedness, your charisma, your vuma, And you're just holding on tap because you see or you feel that's what the leaders or managers expect from you.
Word, yes.
And it comes back down to culture. It definitely does. I mean, we are 90,000, apparently according to the data of Happiness at Work, we are 90,000 hours at work. No, they say in general, 90,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
And if you calculate that up, that is quite a lot of hours. That means we are 87% of our lives at work.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, 5 days out of 7, that means there's no fun, there's no play for 5 days a week.
No.
And then you only get to do that for the other 2 days. No.
But people, generally speaking now, Thandi, seem to be enjoying weekdays so that they can have fun in the weekends. Am I exaggerating in that, or there seems to be this sentiment? I look at WhatsApp statuses on Friday at 12:30. People are like, close those laptops so that we can go have a bit of fun. What in your view started this idea that work is this thing that we must enjoy so that we can then go have fun later?
It's often the media we consume. It's often the things that we see on social media, right? So I remember probably 10 or less years ago, people would have a photo of themselves, take a selfie with your laptop and the work, or in a boardroom in a meeting. That seemed to perpetuate that life equals work, success equals this thing that you keep seeing at work, and people who wear suits, and it was just the thing that was valued. Definitely 10, 15 years ago, you work in a particular company, you drive a particular car, you have a briefcase. No, man, it's a lot. It's too much.
But the thing is, though, leaders would argue that we're not here to have fun, we're here to produce, right? And true. I wonder, Taryn, if you can share maybe some insights, some studies on the impact of fun and positive outcomes on some organizational behavior outcomes, maybe like productivity, employee engagement, well-being, etc. So that I think when we get a pushback, when we talk about fun in the workplace, people think it's fluffy stuff, it does not lead to anything. Maybe can you share any?
So I love research and stats and data, and there's so much of it with regards to this topic.
Okay.
And it says so in the Journal of Leadership and Organizational Context. They said the latest research was they actually associated a fun work environment very closely with job satisfaction as well as organizational commitment. Now, we all know job satisfaction leads to what? To mental and emotional well-being, reduced stress, less burnout, a lower high turnover, as well as retaining amazing talent and staff. And not just that, I've noticed creativity and innovation in these studies have spiked drastically by 12% when they are having fun at work. And we need creativity and innovation.
That's what shifts the needle.
Yes, in order to survive in this busy hustle bustle world work. You know, world
of work.
What she said. Let me drink more coffee.
I love that so much because I don't know, but you know, I observe myself as well. There are times when I'm sitting in my desk and I'm forcing myself to work, but there is no creativity, there's no innovation. You can tell that you are just sitting there, and suddenly you take a bit of a walk, and it unlocks some creative ideas. You find solutions to this work that you've been struggling to have. So I don't understand why leaders sometimes don't give people the space, the little bit of autonomy to just give me the outcomes, not I want to see you at your desk working.
But do you remember, definitely a couple of years pre-COVID,
Yes.
you guys in your office would have, I think it was Fun Fridays or something like that,
Yes,
where
we
you'd like jam a tune and then you're dancing, and it was almost like a dance
I remember those videos.
And things like those that we start seeing within our own peer groups and professionals in organizations, seeing that playing out, that you actually can play and have it's short, but it feels like it's different, and it also gives the rest of us stiffies permission to have fun. Right? Like, it's okay.
No, talk about that. There's a few companies that I came across that does exceptional work with this, and these are the top leaders, and they are showing results. They are reaching the bottom line, and they're getting their people to perform.
Really?
And how they're doing this is there's this one company, Intuit Inc., they specifically position their offices around nature or a place where there's wide open spaces. So they try and avoid the city hustle bustle, right? And what their motto is that they incorporate well-being into every aspect of work, which is absolutely critical. They set up shop into a point where there's this one place with a lake, and they set up like a whole running trail or a walking trail. Again, there's studies that's shown, especially by Dr. Caroline Leaf, that said if you listen to bird songs or in nature for the first 30 minutes of your day, how it secretes amazing endorphins and serotonin. And I've been trying it, and guys, it definitely does work. So just putting it out there. And not just that, another company, for example, Chick-fil-A. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
Sorry if you're listening, Chick-fil-A. But what they do is so cool. They've actually created a whole department called, wait for it, Food, Fun and Fit. And their job description is to make sure that their people have good, healthy food, that they are fit, and what's that last F word? Fun. Imagine that, a whole department that is there to make sure that your people are looked after. Why? Because your people are your greatest asset. And I wish that leaders can just see there is so much studies and data out there that proves that if you just inject good fun, but making sure that aligns with the values of the the values of the company and the goals of the company, then that's okay. It's about a balance, you know?
But I love that because for me, it's about, we're not just doing this fluffy kumbaya stuff. That actually leads to increased productivity, innovation, creativity, and so on. And Thandi, I think you recently spoke to a cohort of the young people that you train, and I think you were telling me you were talking to them about infusing this purpose in your work. What were you saying to them?
Now, I'm very deliberate, especially with young people who are often in the infancy of their careers. I'm very deliberate about very quickly understand why you do what you do. You also, that you are not your job. You are not what you do.
Wow.
Because again, in the context of the economy that we work in, your job can be taken away just quickly.
Like that.
You know, things change so quickly, and you lose sense of who you are, and you unravel when you yourself have so much built into you from a purpose level that you can actually very quickly replicate into something else. So, you know, what one of the things I was saying to them is this one particular group I was sharing about with you, we do a 10-day intensive training for individuals that end up in retail stores. And that training spans over a weekend. So we train literally Monday through the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the way to the following week.
Wow, okay.
I don't want to not use you while you're here on the weekend. So
Yeah, of course.
we all work. And so on the very first day, I infuse fun. Firstly, my intro exercise is everybody's got a phone, right? Take your phone out, play us your jam. I'm going to give you like half a minute, play your jam, and if it means there's a part in a jam, right, that you like, that just is your thing, play your jam. Number one, we have a bit of fun. You get to introduce yourself without going, hi, my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic.
Yes. It's as if you're in an AA.
We don't want that. What's your jam, right? Now we know what your jam is. It's a little bit easier. But also going into, now that you've left, because we incubate them in a particular venue, they stay with us.
Okay.
Because the training is long, we start early, we finish late, and you're here with us. You've left your families, you've left your loved ones. Where did you say you're going? Where are you going for 10 whole days? Why are you here with us? And they're like, no, I'm just here to get, I just want to understand the product. I just want to understand what the company is about. And I go, no, why are you here? You could have gotten information about the company or the brand or the product or whatever on the internet. Why are you here?
Yeah.
And then we start digging deeper into what people's connection point is firstly before I get into a more generic thing, because now I don't want to lecture, but why are you here? And it's often about, I want to create a future for my child. I want to be able to keep the lights on at home. I have a family member that has a disability and really needs a lot of financial help, and that's why I need to then I can connect with you a little bit easier, because everybody has their own story.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own why for why they would do something like that.
I love
right?
that.
And if you're not connected to something that's going to take you away from your loved ones for 10 days or 3 days or whatever, often you're not going to sign up. You're going to go, oh, no, sorry. I've got other things happening. I've got other things happening for me. I'm not going to do this. And so really infusing that individual purpose first, and then overlaying that and paralleling that with the organization's purpose, that we actually are here to do this and this and this within the economy, within the communities, for our shareholders, etc. This is why we exist as an organization. Now we can start to really create those connections. Imagine if someone told you, this is what we do here and this is why you're here.
Oof.
And I don't know. Now you're telling me why I'm here. You know?
Yeah.
You don't understand my story, my purpose. And I think that purpose and meaning, I think it has been proven there are two things that I love, outcomes called, the first one is called affective commitment. In other words, the idea that I'm going to give my heart to this organization. The second one is this idea of discretionary effort that we love. In other words, going beyond the call of duty. And you cannot get that from me by forcing it. You can only inspire, right? Yeah. And set out the environment for me to get it. So that's very, very important. Makes sense to me.
Sure, that's powerful. I love that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And often with young people, right? Because they don't want to be told.
No, they don't.
Talk to me. Take me with you.
Connection. It comes back down to connection, which will then lead to trust. Yeah. And when there's trust, they're more likely to open up. And that's where the joy comes out and the fun. Yes. Because they can be themselves.
Absolutely. And imagine, and imagine you're this 23, 24-year-old or younger or a little bit older coming into typically your first job. And you've already lost connection with who you are because you need to conform to what you see on paper and what you get told about the organization's culture and its purpose and what you become your job. And then every single day after that seems to become a grudge purchase.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And they start losing a little bit of their soul.
And then what happens? 10 years from there, they would have had at least 3 other jobs, at least.
Mm-hmm.
We failed them at the beginning. I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of something that, individuals have to sell their souls to be part of something.
No.
Bring yourself. And if you find your connection and your purpose a little bit later on, that's also fine. But it's also, I'm giving you permission that you can have purpose, you can have a vision. You should.
I've often, I've often told leaders, sometimes leaders say to me, so-and-so is so disengaged, so-and-so is very quiet, very reserved. I'm like, I know so-and-so. That's not
They're not.
They're not reserved. They're very creative.
You get that all the time.
But have we created an environment? Maybe so-and-so has decided, okay, they don't want the real me, so I'll reserve my input to the weekend then because they don't want the real me.
Yes. I've seen a lot of leaders, they call themselves leaders, and sometimes we don't know the differences.
It's just managing processes.
And it's all management and micromanaging. And I actually recently have been with regards to a company where we've just taken them through a self-mastery, these leaders. We've taken them through self-mastery, and I was walking past and they were doing self-reflective questions, and this one gentleman put in bold and highlighted it, "Am I happy?" ? And that struck me. It was just, wow. A lot of the times, I love what you said also, Thandi, about, it's okay if you don't find your purpose earlier on. I know a lot for us, for speakers and facilitators, we always get told, find your niche, find your niche, find your niche. It gets drilled, And then eventually when I was young and I was trying to find my niche and I was getting even more lost. And it comes back down again to your purpose.
Yeah.
What motivates you to wake up in the morning, and what is ingrained in you, and it's so beautiful to go through that whole 10-day process or whatever training it is. And I say self-mastery in any company is a must. Leaders should ensure that their people at least go through some form of self-mastery where they can check out what is their strengths, maybe do a real-life assessment, check where they are, check what their current reality is right now, because we're so busy hustling and bustling and living this rat race that we don't actually take time to be self-aware, to reflect on us. I know, for example, myself as a mother and playing all these other roles as a wife and whatever, it can get really easy to lose who you are, to get lost in all this noise because you're doing what society says you must do, which you think is acceptable. And you know the box is there, but you shouldn't be in the box. You need to go out the box because that's where the magic happens.
That is so true. I want to do this one dramatically for the camera, because inner mastery leads to outer impact. Ow!
I love it.
Absolutely.
If I don't know myself, then I can't have an impact.
Yes.
We often talk about the happiness advantage, which I think refers to the idea that when individuals experience positive emotions and generally have the optimistic outlook in life, they are more likely to achieve greater success. I keep going back to this, that it's not fluffy stuff, but it will lead them to greater success and they will perform better in various aspects of their lives, including work. Taryn, I don't know if you want to delve into that concept and whether you've seen some studies or examples of people who are generally happy and therefore they perform better.
Perfect. So that happiness advantage comes from a book by Sean Aker. I don't know how to say his name right. Aker. I'm going to call you Sean for now, right?
Hey, Sean.
And he writes his book, The Happiness Advantage. And what's really interesting is through his research and studies and that a lot of the times our traditional view is that success will lead to happiness. So as you mentioned, Thandi, if you've got the car, if you've got the house, and there's this whole cycle of what you must have, then only will you be happy. But he says he reverses it. He says that's opposite. He says if you are putting joy and happiness in everything you do, you are sparking more creativity, you're bringing more of who you are in the world, you're being more authentic, which then naturally leads to success.
Yes.
Because then doors start opening up for you, right? And I've seen this a lot of times when you're speaking about retail, in customer service. If your customer service rep, and the studies showed, if they are not happy in what they do, if they don't believe in the product, they don't believe in the company, and now there's someone yelling at me, and I must listen to this all day, and then I must try and help them to find a solution. But I'm not happy with it, so I can easily just go, if this call was not recorded, I would have told you, go buy another product. Just go get another product. I agree 100% with you.
Sure.
And a lot of times, we can't do that, obviously, because we're in this job, we're in this position. And I've seen it in companies where when they actually empower their staff with adequate training and telling them what is the purpose, what are the values, what is our mission and vision, and do your values align with our company?
Yeah.
Are you with us on our mission and our vision? That will naturally lead to high productivity levels, to engagement, and to a point where I'm going to bring you ideas of what works, because I'm in the job role every day.
I know it better.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, because they are, let's be honest, leaders are out there supervising, trying to get everything, putting everything together, but the people who are in there, getting their hands dirty, we need to start listening to them, because we often shut down the ideas and what do you know? You're no leader, what do you know? You know?
Yeah.
And I see it so often. And the moment you shut down the ideas and you shut down the initiatives and how are you going to feel if someone keeps saying no, 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 maybe, 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 maybe?
Yeah.
And another example of a company that PAX 8, they get people to do, it's something so cool, they call it the Success Summit with people. Okay. And they get all their people around a table and they say, right, today is bouncing ideas day. There's no right or wrong idea. We're just going to hack out ideas on how we can take our company to the next level. Everyone, right down from the cleaner, right down to the toppers there. They're all in that room. And they are putting minds together and they are hacking ideas. I want to work for a company like that, where they value my voice. And it comes back down to appreciation and recognition. Are we, as leaders, are we recognizing our people? Are we appreciating them? Because we're very quick to go on when things go wrong. We're very quick to be on them when things go wrong.
Yeah.
How are we, and I think leaders need to start having a look at how are they leading. Because a lot of the times they are the role models.
Yeah.
They are. And that's how people will decide what is acceptable and what is not.
So if someone has been listening so far, Thandi, and they say, okay, guys, you've convinced me, we must create a bit of fun. What advice can you at least offer to leaders who want to create a workplace that fosters these qualities now? What are some of the thoughts, ideas that maybe we could have for them?
I was actually just thinking about that, and I'm so glad you asked this question now. Gary Hamel wrote in the Harvard Business Review in 2013 that as a leader, you actually play 3 broad roles.
Okay.
You're a constitution writer, and often this is now where managers play. You create the rules, you create the structure, the governance, the templates. You basically are on the framework of how we do things around here, right? And how you do your job. And secondly, as a leader, you are a social architect. And that's not what we forget. Create spaces and open opportunities for people to explore. Oh. Yes. Right? Get people into the room. Get people around the table.
Yes.
Give people that permission. And thirdly, this is now where purpose comes in. You're an entrepreneur of meaning as a leader. And so this is now where, why must people wake up to come and work for you? But beyond that, here's what happens. You go for a job interview, right? You get asked a whole bunch of questions, including what you think about X, Y, and Z. And then when you get employed, people stop asking you what you think. Why do we do that?
That is so true.
And so to unlock that meaning for people as a leader is to continue asking them what they think.
That's powerful.
Because, again, people spend 13 years in a job. And the only time they were ever asked what they think about something was at the job interview. Why do we do that?
In fact, they say, I don't pay you to think. Like,
okay.
But you asked me.
You brought in my expertise, my talents.
Yes.
to the business because you saw something in me.
Yes.
And now we're not tapping into
Yes.
that. Yeah. Wow.
And then I feel wasted.
Yeah.
And I feel wasted. And so as a leader, we need to be able to continue doing that. But also, in a current organization, we have a thing called social capital. And so there's an actual budget for helping people connect with each other.
Really?
Yes.
We need more of that budget. I love it.
No, seriously, we give you money and downtime. What do you choose what you want to do as a team, as a native team, or as a bridging with other teams, project teams.
I love that.
Whatever, but do that, because when you work in a hybrid environment or in environments that we do now, where you hardly ever see each other than on Zoom and Teams, how are you actually connecting with this person's energy? You don't know who they are. You don't know, other than that 30-minute meeting that you had with them. But also you can't ask them what they think about something structurally in that kind of setting. And so foster, open the doors, open the channels. Do not stand in the way of people, firstly, to connect with each other and to connect with their own meaning and purpose.
So good. And without that connection, there is no trust. And without trust, we can't do good work.
No.
In fact, I think it is proven without trust, we will never be able to raise divergent views. We will never be able to have just a functional level of conflict around ideas, not fighting together. So that makes a lot of sense.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that, and other things that I just want to really put a point out there is that now, great, we have to incorporate fun. But then the first thing people tend to do is like, let's do team building. Now we have to lift Susie over a rod. And now we have to try and build a boat and go across a lake.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so time and time where people have this misconception that that's what team building is. And I love what you said, Thandi. It's about connection. So think about what activities can you do within the organization as leaders, or even in your department, other than just building a boat and going across a dam,
True.
What can you really do that's intentional that will get people conversing?
Yes.
And sharing ideas. And there's so many things that you can do. But I just thought I wanted to put that point out there.
But that's
that team
interesting.
Building,
That's interesting. Sorry to disturb you. It's also exactly what Thandi is saying. Also, just ask your team how they would love to connect.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
Simple.
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Because people don't. If some people don't want to build rafts and things. Maybe they just want a massage.
I know, right?
Or I just want to have a glass of wine.
And just chill with my colleagues.
Yes.
And that's the thing. We don't involve our staff or involve the people and ask them as a collective, what do you think is going to help us succeed as a team so
also,
we can connect?
Yes, but also that encourages that diversity, right? Because we talk so broadly about diversity and inclusivity. But if you're not including me,
then what must I bring to the table?
Clearly you don't want me here.
What was that statement? I think it said something like, nothing about us without us. So how do you plan these activities without involving the people that you are planning it for? But maybe leaders are scared that no work will get done if we do this fun thing, and that we will never be able to achieve goals and targets. Can this idea of fun and achievement coexist harmoniously? What is that word?
Harmoniously.
Thank you very much.
Tomato, same thing.
I feel like I'm just the pronunciation dictionary.
Thank you very much,
You're really
Thandi.
great at it.
If that's all I'm bringing to the table, we're keeping
it's
it
a
at
strength, Thandi. It's a strength. I value you. I see you. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm not going to say that word, but can fun and achievement coexist?
Yes. If leaders have clear communication, and again, I've seen it, leaders have not even communicated their strategy for the year. I mean, again, if you don't have that clear communication of where you're going and involving your people, you're going to lose a lot of sight of people. But when you do that, you can do it in fun ways. You can have little pods, you can have little hub sessions, and that's quite exciting. Another way that leaders can possibly do this is also having continuous value sessions, making sure that the company, the values are turned into behavior so that it can be put into action. And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times the companies just have it on the boards everywhere that these are our values and that's
That's
you
the
know.
worst.
But we need to get them to buy into it. And if leaders can let them buy into it, then if people feel that their values align, they're naturally going to have that balance of fun and work because they're going to want to be productive. They want to give back to a company. Also, if they're being communicated to, and if there's transparency and there's trust, people are going to give you their best if they can be their best and their authentic self. So as a leader, have a look at ways in your corporate culture right now that you can start having a look at where am I missing the gaps? Where's there misalignment with my people? What can I do to make sure that my people are happy? Because if they're happy, they will naturally want to give their best.
And more.
And more. And that's the idea of discretionary effort. If you only force me to do this, I will only keep it there, but I can only bring myself and give more if you allow me that space.
But also, I think that the concept of giving more, is scary for some people because I see it a lot now where people it's a bit of a vicious cycle. My manager does not see me or value me in any form, so I'm just going to work my hours. I'm just here to do my job, tick the boxes, get on with my life. I don't even want you guys to send me a WhatsApp and communicate with me.
After hours?
No, don't. Absolutely do not. We don't know each other like that.
It sounds like something
it becomes a vicious cycle. And then people move to their next organization and here's TL going, have fun, connect. We're here to enjoy what they do. And people have lost the trust because so often they've had leaders and managers who had them under their thumb for so long. And so then, we spend a lot of time, especially, and I'm sure in the work that you do, trying to help people trust again, I suppose. Not so much about have the fun. They will have the fun, but they're probably going, if I have too much fun, you're going to now nail me for something.
But do you think, I think it's really important that we redefine what professionalism is though. Because, fun can always also have a bad connotation that it's you're joking, you're misbehaving, and it's a rebel type of thing. Sometimes fun has got a bad connotation to it, you know. So I think we need to redefine professionalism in our culture and say, we're allowed to have jokes, we're allowed to bring our authentic self, you're allowed to bring crazy ideas, and so have a look at what does fun also mean to you, because fun means different things for different people.
It's so scary. I was reading a book about the power of fun, which is scary because, there was a time I was having fun. Now I read books about fun.
I was about to ask, now. Why are you reading a book like that, Siphiwe? You are really fun. I
am really, really fun. And for me, the idea that around playfulness, around connection, I think, I can't remember the author, but talks about playfulness and connection. But a little bit of playfulness, the more playful I am, the more I produce.
Not just that, the more ideas and creativity you
have. Because you've let your guard down.
Yes. And
you're not so guarded. You're not the Great Wall of China now all around you all the time.
Yeah, I love it. And obviously, again, I get so excited about this because ideas can lead to massive changes. I mean, what if someone, now hear me out, that's a thought, what if we have someone currently, oh, here comes dangerous stuff now. But what if there's someone right now in an organization that has a manager or leader that's being micromanaged, that feels that they have to be reserved and hold themselves in and they can't give their ideas and they're not being recognized, they're not being appreciated, well-being is not even a term in their company. And what if that individual's sitting with the cure to cancer? And that's a thought that I want us to really have, because what if we are crushing it? We're crushing that individual and they may just have the cure to cancer. And that's something we got to really sit with, because what are we doing to our people? They might just be our next best thing to elevate our company, to take our company to the next level. So why are we crushing them? Just so that we can reach target. just that we can do this. And what we don't understand is that emotions drive people, people drive performance.
Yeah.
So have a look at the emotions. Emotions is data.
Yeah.
What's happening in your organization? Why is there a high turnover? Ask yourself. Don't just say, I love this. I get a lot of HRs that say to me, oh no, it's just because it's a season and there was a reason. How well are you conducting those exit interviews?
Yeah.
So again, you know,
good.
it's something to think about. Who do you have right now in your team? Or if there's an individual out there listening, what do you have inside of you and why are you holding it back? You know, why are you holding it back?
I get some people who once worked with me in some other organizations who was like, dude, we didn't know you are this passionate. You are this. And I'm like, you wouldn't have known because there was no space for that.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's it. I know I could talk to you guys the whole day, but I want to shift the conversations to the individual now. We've talked about the leaders, but if I'm that individual who's sitting there, how do I infuse my own fun and purpose into my own work? So if I feel like that space has not been given to me, but I'm not going to sit there and be grumpy, I want to take responsibility, are there any things that I can try and do to infuse a bit of fun and a bit of purpose into my own work?
There are. And a big part of it is, I don't think you always need permission from a company or from anyone to tell you that you can be, you know.
Please can you say that again so everyone in the world can hear that?
A lot of other people at the back. No, you do not need permission or anyone ever to tell you that you can be X, Y, Z.
Wow.
Amen.
You drive that. And so often people get into, I just want a job, right? I just want to put food on the table. And that's all right. But now you're going to have, say, 30 days in a month. You're putting food on the table 30 days in a month. And then another 30 days. And then another 30 days. And then you look up, it's been 7 years.
And then you wonder,
why are you doing this? So surely there was a season of putting bread on the table. But why else? Why else have you continued to do this? And for some people, so I had a colleague years ago who said, I have expensive habits, so I just do this so that I can afford my shoes.
no.
True.
What type of shoes?
Proper designer stuff.
Okay.
So is that a colleague or is that you?
No, that's definitely not me. Please don't look down. Don't look down. No, definitely there was a colleague who said, I know myself, know thyself, because you don't give anything else, and so that was part of it. But also, why actually do you do this? So there's the material value, and that's okay. So other people are connected to materialistic aspirations, and that's perfectly fine. But why else? What does this mean to you? And you find different things for different people, right? And again, there's seasons and there's that, but beyond that, so if the money was taken off the table and you didn't have to put food on the table, why do you do that? Why do you do what you do? Yes. And then you try, and so I had a conversation with, I think, one of my newest mentors for me recently, who highlighted and said, she said to me, she spent easily 4 to 5 years in coaching to articulate her own vision.
Wow.
Right? And it was such an aha moment for me. I think I had my eyes definitely started to water, because often we are under so much pressure, even when we talk about purpose, that you must know your purpose. Why do you do what you do? And sometimes it does take time and it does take work to be able to flesh that out. And so for an individual, it is just the basic and the core of why do you do what you do? And if you were not your job, if you were not your children, if you were not a label, what would you be doing and why would you be doing that?
Can I just add to that also, is that I love that. And I also encourage people to speak up towards others as well. And this is why I'm so passionate about human connection. I had this one gentleman in a really big company. I was in the point of my life where I was facilitating and, you know, after facilitation, you always get those evaluation forms, you read them, and there's great feedback, but I still felt kind of empty. Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? And a guy came to me afterwards, and he says, Taryn, I don't know why, but I just have this feeling to tell you this. Don't stop what you're doing.
Yes.
It matters, and you're impacting people, and I just want you to keep going through the tough times. And I was in tears. Like, I was like, you do not know how much right now in my life, in that season, that I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I encourage people out there, don't hold back. If you think that lady looks stunning in that dress, tell her. You know, and I'm serious. Like,
I'm such a big advocate of that.
Is this an analogy or whatever?
Actually, there's a whole thing about when you pay someone a compliment, it actually does something to you.
Yes.
It sparks so much happiness for both you and that person. Because now you see that person perk up and they go like, oh, I just got a compliment, and they start working better.
In fact, I think research tells us that we love self-care so much, but we must make sure self-care is not self-focused.
Yes.
In fact, you are going to be happier if you are giving more than you are taking. So that compliment, helping somebody else, actually makes you happy.
Yeah.
So that's
And it
so
costs you nothing to say something. It costs you nothing. And another example, I was walking in hospital, I was having a bad day. I had the 1-year-old on my hip and the 3-year-old on my other hip, and I did not make effort into how I was going to look that day. And I came around a corner and I literally bumped into this lady with these 2 kids, and she goes, oh, sorry, you're so beautiful.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Today of all days, a stranger says to me, you're beautiful, and I didn't even make effort.
Imagine.
And I climb into the elevator with these 2 kids. I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn right, I'm beautiful. So thank you to that lady, if you're listening. I really appreciate it, because it had a positive impact. It brought out the joy. It brought out the joy. And I think joy is not just a feeling. It's a being. It's a way we should live. It's a being. We should...
I love it so much. There's something called the science of job crafting, which is the idea that people can craft their own jobs and infuse certain elements in your jobs that give you joy, that give you purpose.
Yes.
That no matter what you do, there's some few things you can add. I think there was this lady who used to clean hospital wards and of people in a coma. So these people can hear you. There's nothing exciting about that job. But she decided she was going to put art around the room, because she believed that if she moves art around, it will help people heal better. And for her, that injected a lot of purpose and meaning. I have to go to work, because if I don't move that art around, people are not going to recover quickly. So those small little things you infuse in your own job can really help. So I wanted to ask you, Taryn, as we... Okay, you want to talk now?
Yes, sorry. I'm so excited. I was like, yes, you just sparked that aha moment in me.
She beat me to it.
We're going to have a buzz here. 100%. Job crafting. Yes. So, and that speaks to Marcus Buckingham. I don't know if you guys know Marcus Buckingham. Not only is he only good on the eyes, he's really got a good brain. But I mean, can we tag Marcus in this? And he speaks again to your strength. And he said, and a lot of the times we find that our strengths is something that we're just good at. But he says, no, it's strengths is something that we can do for hours on end. It's an energy. It's a natural state of being. And that's exactly when you spoke about that lady at the hospital ward.
Yeah.
You know, maybe her strength was to put art, and she found passion for art, and she put it all over the rooms. And so again, when you're looking at yourself as an individual right now, and how can you put more joy in your workplace, have a look at your strengths. And Marcus Buckingham actually has an assessment online for free called the Standout Gift, the Gift of the Standout, there we go. And it's a free assessment that you can do for your strengths to identify it. And he gives a 14-page, this is not a paid promotion for Marcus, but he gives out an awesome report to help you identify it. Another also way that you can do it is having a look at the Wheel of Life, the assessment. Email me if you want it, I've got it. As well as your values. And then something so profound that one of my mentors, Neil, told me was that, when last have I done a personal timeline? And I was like, huh? A personal timeline? Why would I want to do that? We did it in grade 1, right? But he says, no, a personal timeline of your life. and maybe starting from varsity to where you are right now. And he says everything above the line is your successes, and everything below the line is what you think are failures. And when you actually plot your personal timeline and you put it to a visual representation, aha moments can come out of it. And I'm just saying that people realize that their successes was because of their failures. And when people can actually see that, they can start realizing what is their purpose again, where are they going, it's their current reality. And I've started incorporating this exercise into my training sessions, and I've had people even cry because they've come to these moments of realization, I'm not where I want to be, and I know where I want to be now. So maybe doing something like a personal timeline. And as many assessments as possible, I think it's really important. The more data you have on yourself to help you, the better.
Powerful.
It's tools, it's weapons of, I wouldn't say mass destruction, but of massive change in your life, you know? So, yeah, that's just a few ideas of how people can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's another assessment. I think it's called the VIA assessment. Check it out. It's also free. It really does help. There are some jealous people, our producers, who are telling us we're almost out of time. Thandi, did you want to comment on this as we head closer?
I actually wanted to, with the question you were asking earlier, it was around lockdown. There was in the office that we worked in, there was a blackboard. I honestly can't remember why the blackboard was there to begin with. So anyway, I took to the blackboard on a weekly basis when I went into the office. I would have an inspirational quote or something like crazy mad, and it was hashtag office blackboard. And I put it on my social media, but it was also something I shared in the WhatsApp groups that I had at work. And it was so cool that sometimes you infuse a little bit of fun, a little bit of purpose, a little bit of probing thinking to individuals. And so the one lady who used to clean the office, I think on a weekly basis or daily, I can't remember, she used to get very worried if there wasn't a new message up on the board on a weekly basis that she had to now clean off. Because she was like, have you been sick? What's happened? Why is there not a new message? Because I erased that one last week and the whole week the board's been empty. And so sometimes you think that the little bit of things that you do have very little impact, and you forget how many other people see it. They may not shout, they may not applaud you, they may not give you that applause you're looking, but they are there, they are watching, they are following, and it gives them purpose and impact.
Oh, you just gave me medicine.
And
for my
someone
soul.
else's life is better because of you,
Yes.
of what you do. So you
Yes.
cannot stop what you do.
You cannot stop what you're doing, because she'd like take a photo of it herself as well and sort of laugh and read and whatever. But also the joke was other people, because the chalks were there and everything, and other people would come at the end of the week or whenever they wanted to, would like make a comment on the side of the board like, ha ha ha, I hate this, or that's so stupid, or I love it, and so on. But it was really great, because especially when you don't get to work with people at the same time in the same space, and people are coming in and going as they please, especially during lockdown, they were just making a comment on the board as they would come in and see it and put a smiley face or whatever. And that was so cool that sometimes we want to do the big things, but sometimes it's those small things that you will do as an individual and just as an employee. And it actually touches people's lives. It's not HR, it's not the leader, it's not the CEO. Everybody has permission to put up a message and shine light.
Good.
Share light rather than the dark and gloomy. We all have depression, we all have things going on, but share light. And when you do that, so many people are empowered by it.
And they can shine brighter.
They can shine brighter.
So basically, you are the difference. You matter.
matter.
Whatever you do every day, someone else's life is better because you do. So we have to get to close. I must have you back. You guys are amazing. We could speak here for like 4 or 5 hours.
I can't believe an hour is up.
It's good. So I want you guys to think about your closing comments, and also just how people can contact you, book you, work with you. For those at TLU, you're a consultant, and Thandi, in anything that you're passionate about that you just want to tell people. But I also want those closing comments. Imagine we're going live on TikTok and you have 40 seconds to give us your last powerful nugget I want you to do that and then tell us how we can contact you, book you, or whatever. Who wants to start?
I can. All right, why not? So in closing, find your joy, or find joy in every corner. Laugh a little louder. Bring your best version every day, because the world needs you to.
Wow.
So you can find me on all platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I am only not on Twitter. I have not mastered the art of that just
We know
yet.
that. Hey.
And you can check me out on my website, Aha Training, as well as my email, tarin@ahatraining.co.za. And if you're lucky, I'll give you my number. Hey.
You don't
Careful
know.
now,
Your best
careful
friend,
now.
yeah. I'm so going to stalk
Call
Thandi.
stalkers.
You don't want to give your social media handles.
Oh,
They can
yes.
just find
Okay.
you.
So my social media handles as well, it is @Taryn-Lee Kearney. And if all else fails, just search Boom Chakalaka and you will find me.
I didn't even ask you where Boom Chakalaka comes from.
Oh, it's a very cool story. It's a little bit of spice and rumor.
That's all for the next time.
Tell us the story. Tell us the
So,
story.
very interesting enough, one of our speaker colleagues, Quibus Visser, we met a few back years ago, and he came up to me, he's like, I don't know why, but I just feel like Boom Chakalaka depicts who you are. Like, you just give me Boom Chakalaka-ness. Like, I don't know where I'm getting it from, but it's just, and it's the South African version, you know, that Chakalaka, that's, that relish you put on pap and nyama. So I was like, I'm owning it. And before I knew it, people were like, yes, that sums up your energy, your spiciness, your sassiness, your who you are. So, and before I knew it, it was like hotcakes. Everyone was referring me to as Boom Chakalaka.
Boom Chakalaka. Thank you
Just
so
like
much.
go.
Boom, boom.
This is not going to end.
No,
Closing
we're not
comments.
gonna. For me, it is connect with your why. You are not what you do,
Sure.
because the what often will change for many different circumstances. You are not what you do. You are who you are, and bring who you are in your best version, in your biggest self. Bring it, because someone is going to benefit from that. It will either be an entire company, it will be an entire continent, it will be the entire globe, but bring who you are, because your voice matters. The why and your purpose and the way that you write it down and you string the words together, you can always find that, but always be able to connect with it internally with yourself first, because you can't bring that anywhere else.
So good.
And I am one of those super boring people everywhere. I'm at Thandi Jacobs.
That's good.
I haven't found a really cool name for myself yet, but I realized maybe I'm over that, and that's just who I am. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I'm Thandi Jacobs, and that's it.
Thandi TL, thank you so much for coming. This has been absolutely amazing. We learned so much. Thank you for giving yourself. And for me, just to hang out with you is always such a great honor and great fun. Thank you for everything you've done. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, fun and purpose can coexist with productivity and success. So go out there and make your work days brighter and more fulfilling. We're out of here! You've always wanted to do the